Welcome back to another episode of the Purple Pain Podcast. Oh boy, my AirPod fell out. What a great start to the show. AirPods falling out. Welcome back to this episode of the Purple Pain Podcast. I'm Simply AS10, that's Sutton Def.
Yeah.
Episode 223. The Anthony Averett episode, the Shockey Brown, the Kyle Fuller, Tony Jefferson, Kendrick Lewis, Willis McGahee, and most recently, Rock Ya Inactive. Thank you for coming through this episode of the Purple Pain Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. Follow this guy on Instagram, on Twitter at Sutton Def. You can follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod and on Twitter at simplyas10. And most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. When you get yourself something nice on there, maybe a little therapy shopping. You know, I'm not opposed to it. We've all been there. Use code PRP, get yourself 20% off your whole order and free international shipping. Oh boy. I have this thing next to me, right? It says don't blink. Don't blink. I wanted to fucking gouge my eyes out watching that offense yesterday. Not blink, gouge.
Yeah.
Like, take him out. That was awful. Boy. Oh, this is gonna be a therapy session, by the way. Just so you know. We'll talk about the game. Yeah, I'll eat my words. How are you?
I am not okay, right? It's been a long, hard season, hard-fought season. There was really shaping up to be the Ravens' year. You know, you talk about a championship window. It seemed like ours was wide open this season, and you know what happens with championship windows? They only get smaller, right? So that's kind of why I'm very, very just feel kind of dejected right now. You know, I'm still kind of numb to the loss yesterday. It's been over 24 hours that we've been sitting on it, but still kind of numb, to be honest with you. It just doesn't feel real. Now I've got the time to, you know, kind of review the game, rewatch it, see some other people's takes on it. People bring up some good points on what happened, on why the Ravens might have lost. And, you know, I came up with my own take on why I think that the Ravens lost yesterday, and more importantly, why they did not look like the team that we knew all season. You know, there's a multitude of things, but I think that there's one thing in particular that the Chiefs, I don't even want to say that the Chiefs did, but it's what the Chiefs are, as to why the Ravens didn't perform all that well on Sunday. But again, I mean, for those of y'all watching, thank you so much. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. The Ravens season is over, yes, but that does not mean that we're going to stop putting out content here. You know what I mean? We're still locked in. No. Just like you see my guy Alex over there, we are locked into this channel. So make sure you stay subscribed, like the video as well, like all the videos you watch on our channel. I mean, that would be awesome. That'd be great. But yeah, we're still here. We are still here. We'll be covering the Super Bowl. You guys already know what it is.
Of course.
Of course, guys, listen, like we said, this is a therapy session.
Yeah.
So go ahead and drop your feelings, your emotions in the chat. Now, listen, I know for me, this morning when I woke up, I didn't want to listen to anything sports or Baltimore Ravens related unless it was coming from a local content creator, you know, because at least I knew I was going to get a therapy session, you know, and that's what we're here to provide for you guys tonight. 24 hours removed from the AFC Championship game, which the Ravens lost 17-10. Man, we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. That's what this episode's about, talking about yesterday's game. Mod Cows in the house says I cried a little, not gonna lie. It was a tough one. It was a tough one. But what were your biggest takeaways from yesterday's loss, Alex?
I still have Taylor Swift stuck in my head a week later. Like, the songs are still going through my head.
Yeah.
My takeaways, same shit, different year. I'm still stuck up on 6 rushing attempts. And just like you know, I made a video on my channel and, you know, I had to rewatch the game. And what I don't get is on the 4th and 1, we have a 21-yard rush with Lamar. Next play, 15-yard rush with Gus Edwards. Play after that, 30-yard touchdown to Zay Flowers. Why do we stop running? 2 out of your 6 runs right there go for 30-plus yards, and you stop running. We played the game as if we were down 40-0.
Yeah.
Passing. And the passing as well wasn't what we were excelling throughout the year. Short, slants, out routes. Nothing crazy. The stuff that Odell excels at, Aguilar excels at, Zay getting the yak, and we just go away from it. Like, why is it as a team do we just shit the bed every single year in the playoffs? And now we have a hump now. It's we can't make it to the Super Bowl. Can't beat the Chiefs. I still will stand by the fact we're more talented than the Chiefs. We beat ourselves yesterday more than they beat us. They put up 17 points. If you
Yeah.
cannot score more than 17 points in a playoff game, shame on you. You should not be in the Super Bowl. I have more to say, but I would love to hear what you got to say too.
Yeah. Man, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Boz in the house says free hugs. Just gotta like the videos. Yeah, we're giving out free hugs
I could
here
use it.
all day long.
I could use it.
I could use one too, to be honest with you. Listen, if you're a Chiefs fan, you're listening to this, congratulations. Hats off to y'all. I mean, I definitely think that the Chiefs played the better game, despite the officiating, which wasn't all the way fair yesterday. I still think that the Chiefs played the better 4 quarters of football than the Ravens.
Yeah.
Now, I see a lot of people talking about why the Ravens didn't run the ball. You just mentioned it yourself, Alex. Let me tell you why the Ravens stopped running the ball so early in that game, and why Gus Edwards and Justice Hill finished with a combined total of 6 rushing attempts.
Okay.
It was because of the Chiefs dynasty. It's the Chiefs dynasty, man. What happens in these big games, right? In these very, very big games, high stakes games, high profile games, the Chiefs have built themselves a resume that shows other teams, okay, we are tried and true. We are seasoned. We are battle tested. We are here. They've got 2 championships in the last, 5 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
That's intimidating. Okay. There's some sort of dynasty effect that takes place, when a team that's that good is coming into your hometown, or you're just getting ready to play them at all. You have so much respect for them. It throws you off your game.
Yep.
It throws you off your game. And you mentioned it on the last episode of the show. You said that you don't want to see, or you don't even want to feel any of the buddy shit between John Harbaugh and Andy Reid. Obviously, John Harbaugh came from the Andy Reid coaching tree. So therefore, John Harbaugh is a byproduct of Andy Reid. So just kind of looking at things psychologically, and you have a mentor and a mentee kind of matchup going on here when it comes to head coach. That probably got in John Harbaugh's head. I guarantee you it did. I guarantee you it got in all the other coaches' heads as well. And when the Chiefs opened their 2 first drives with touchdowns, that spooked the hell out of these coaches, because it kind of told you, like, okay, this is how this game is going to go. They're going to score at will. So we have to be ready to score at will. That's why we stopped running the ball so much, because we thought, okay, we got to match them point for point. We got to play their game. That's where we fucked up. We started playing their game. We respected them way too much. They say, hey, look, our defense, even though it's number 1 in the league, our defense has no shot at stopping these guys. We saw 2 drives of Patrick Mahomes being successful against this Ravens defense. 2 drives. And we said, you know what? We got to do that. We got to be Mahomes and company. So it went really well for them from that standpoint. I mean, they got into their game plan early, didn't have to deviate from it. Their defense was great. But again, I think that the main reason that the Ravens lost, and Dre brings it up here, facts that they panicked. They panicked. The Chiefs, in the dynasty that they are, they scored on their first 2 drives, and the Ravens panicked. They said, oh no, we know what this Chiefs team is capable of. Every football fan, right? So especially these coaches, for the past half a decade, have had their eyes on the Chiefs. We've all seen what the Chiefs have been able to accomplish. So that makes them intimidating. It's literally paralysis by analysis, aka overthinking. We overthunk it. That's all it was. That's really all it was. I feel like if we would have stuck to the run game, that would have been a much more comfortable game for the Ravens, because like you said, your opponent puts up 17 points in the playoffs. You better be able to beat that team. Simple as that. And it was kind of a tale of two halves. The defense was really kind of getting walked on early in that game. And like I said, that's what spooked the coaches into kind of getting out of our game plan, getting out of what we do best, right? And then the second half, defense pitches a shutout. They pitch a shutout, no points allowed. I was texting you at halftime, like, yeah, man, if we can just get a couple key stops, we'll be good. We'll be good. Because I mean, the offense just has to be competent, right? And we'll be okay. Defense was stellar in the second half. The offense did nothing. And it just seemed like we could not buy points. We could not buy a touchdown to save our lives. And yeah, I think that's the biggest reason we lost. I mean, psychologically, we got beat, and it started from the very beginning of the game. The very beginning of the game. I mean, with Kelsey tossing Justin Tucker stuff. You guys all saw that video.
What a
And
fucking
then
clown, bro.
Kelsey baiting the Ravens constantly during the game. What did you think about that? What did you make of Travis Kelsey baiting our guys and the refs giving us the penalty?
I would jokingly call Jalen Hurts Mr. Perfect. I'm sorry, that's Travis Kelsey's Mr. Perfect. He's Mr. Perfect. He does everything right. Never anything on him. I mean, he's dating the pop star. He's in all the commercials. He's fueling stuff. Come on now, Mr. Perfect. But I want to go back real quick before I talk about him. Mike McDonald, blank fucking check. I want to see him as Ravens head coach. This might be reactionary. Will the Seahawks to Pete Carroll? Ravens to John Harbaugh? We just lost Joe Ortiz, director of player personnel. Harbaugh, that can be your position. Not like Mike McDonald, head coach. You adjusted. You kept us in that game. I don't care what anybody says. He's been our best coach by far this year. Please, man, I need him at head coach. But going to the Kelsey stuff, clownish behavior, tool, it worked. You baited us in the penalties, but did the video today, and they missed a couple of tauntings on him, like straight in our faces, doing first downs. He was starting a lot of it. The play Van Noy got the 15-yard on. Roquan Smith's walking away, and I'm not lying here. There's a video on my channel. He pulls Roquan Smith's arm to turn him around, and that's when the whole heated debate started, and then we got the flag. Kudos, you played the refs, and it worked. I mean,
yeah,
I can't get mad at that. You played it, and it worked. So, and then Zay Flowers taunted, and we got the flag. I want it to be consistent, but that's not going to happen.
What do you think about the rule, or I guess just kind of like the way that the refs do things, where they never get the first guy, right? It's always the guy who retaliates. Like, does that make sense to you?
That's life. It would happen in school. I remember there'd be fights in school. It's always the second person. It's not who punches first, who punches back. I just, it's like one of those, like, damned if you do, damned if you don't,
Yeah. But see, like, I just never
and I'll be honest,
understood
like,
that.
and like, you think, like, with all the replay they have, that could be a replayable offense. It's not football. It's not like catch or not catch. Like, this is stuff that happened after the play, so it doesn't have an effect on a touchdown, or if somebody catches the ball and it's after the play, you can review it. I don't know, but that's a great question. But congrats to them. They're fifth Super Bowl in the past 6 years. So yeah.
I see Elizabeth says here, so you guys don't think the millions Taylor Swift has bought into the NFL franchise influenced anything? There's no way the NFL is not making things work out in their favor. Man, it's tough to sit up here and say that, like, the game is rigged when there's just so many variables. You know how hard it would have to be to rig a football game. Now, I definitely think that, if the NFL really wanted to, they could kind of put things in place in order to make it a little bit easier for the Chiefs, right? So, of course, we all know that the officiating crew that the NFL hired for this game, they actually they've historically favored the Chiefs and road teams, right? That's what we knew going into this game off jump. And you could see clear as day, like you said, a couple of missed taunting calls on Kelsey. There was a pass interference. You could have called it holding on Isaiah Likely down the stretch in that game.
That was blatant.
Yeah.
There's some that were ticky-tacky.
Yeah.
I thought there was one on Odell, but I'm like, you know what? Uncatchable ball. I'll let it slide.
Right.
The Likely one, that's one I'm like, really? And I sometimes, when this stuff happens, I have to go on Twitter and type out refs. And I want to see if neutrals are agreeing as well. And it was fans from all fan bases agreeing that That likely one should have been clear as day. But even then, were we going to get the ball in the end zone and put up 7? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, we were
And
allergic to the end zone.
I've said this so many times on this show. It just really sucks as like a football fan, or not even a football fan, as an NFL fan, right? Knowing that this league generates billions of dollars in revenue. Why is it that, a call happens on the field, right? Or the refs make a call, and then us watching at home on TV can hear another ref saying how that's the wrong call, that's the incorrect call. Why can't we just take a couple of seconds, or if it's a minute, the guys in New York who watch this whole thing remotely, right? Why can't we just take a minute to get the call right? It's not that hard.
No, no,
It's really not that hard.
it's not. I don't know. And then I was hearing, I mean, Tony Romo and some saying, "Well, Jim, that's got to be a flag or something," and it wasn't. So, but like I said, it can only do so much. We weren't the better team yesterday. We didn't deserve to win, and that's kind of what hurts me the most. I thought this was the best team we had, the most talented team we've had in years,
Yeah.
and we kind of blew it. Um, One thing I'm not going to do is harp on Zay Flowers because he was fucking cooking yesterday. Unfortunately, he fumbled at the one, and that's just back-to-back years we fumbled at the 1 yard line in the playoffs.
Yep.
That hurts, and that's why Bill Belichick, one of the greatest coaches of all time, does not want his receivers or his ball carriers to dive at the goal line because that's what happens. So hopefully we fix it up in the offseason and come back stronger than ever. But Zay, keep your head up. Had an amazing rookie season, and we hit on a rookie receiver in the first round. So that's a positive right there.
Yeah, and I do want to touch on the whole Zay Flowers thing. Wait, you can hear me, right?
I can hear you. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I do want to touch on the whole Zay Flowers situation, right? Because I found myself upset with Zay Flowers yesterday. I did. And, I caught a lot of flack for it on Twitter, on YouTube, talking to people in person today. People like, oh, how could you, be down on Zay Flowers after he had 5 catches and 115 yards and a touchdown, almost 2. And it's just like, bro, if you are our number one receiver, which Zay Flowers has grown into that role over the course of this season as a rookie, part of that comes with being a leader. And I have less of a problem with him fumbling on the one as I do with him getting that taunting call. Because the taunting call was so blatant. It was so warranted. You know what I mean? Like, he literally could have got called. They could have called that for 3 different things. First of all, he's getting up off the ground and he pushes L'Jarius Sneed into the ground, right? Then he spins the ball near his head. Then he talks down on him, like talking shit, like looking down at him, right? You cannot do that, bro. We are down 10 points in the AFC Championship game. We've had little to no momentum all game long. This is one of our first big plays. One of our first big plays of this game. Like, just get up, stay locked in. That's my thing. Stay locked in was the mantra for the past couple of weeks, for the past few months, damn near. You know what I mean? And they got away from that yesterday. And Zay Flowers, he showed that, showing, letting his emotions get the best of him. And I was very, very disappointed in Zay Flowers for that. Now, moving on to the fumble at the one, that was stuff like that, right? Because you guys know what type of receiver Zay Flowers is. He's a smaller guy. He's gonna catch the ball. He's gonna, scamper around a little bit because he's quicker than everybody else, but he's smaller than everybody else, and he knows that if he gets hit, bad things could happen.
Yep.
That's what happened yesterday, right? So, I mean, he catches the ball, tries to scamper for the end zone, does a last-minute dive. Yes, he kept 2 hands on the football, and that's what John Harbaugh preaches, right? I mean, if you're going to dive for the end zone, keep 2 hands on the football. Cool, great. But it's about situational awareness. It's about situational awareness and keeping the momentum on our side in that moment. I get wanting to score the touchdown. I get wanting to go in and take it in for the touchdown and bring us to within 3 points, pending a Justin Tucker field goal. I understand that. But realizing that the fourth quarter had just started, this game is not out of reach yet. And the most important thing that you have to do is protect that football. We already had a turnover to that point. Protect the football. I don't care if you have to lower the shoulder and get hit stick because you're not a big guy, right? But don't put the football at risk with the season on the line. This is the second year in a row we've done it. I remember when Tyler Huntley went over the top, everybody thought he should have went to the bottom because, better protection of the football. Nothing good happens when you stick the ball out near the goal line
Yep.
and defenders are around you. Good
Yep.
things don't happen. So I was
Yep.
mad on Twitter. I'm not gonna lie. After the game, I tweeted. I was like, the Ravens love those little guys at wide receiver. I tweeted that, and I kind of felt guilt. I kind of felt regret for it because, Zay Flowers, one, he's a rookie. Two, he was the only receiver that balled out yesterday. Granted, he was one of the only ones who got some targets, right? But it just really, really, it didn't sit right with me, the fact that that was the way that our season ended.
I'm not going to give you hate for that. I think you gave your point and you had your decision to back it, and I can understand. One thing I will say with the whole reaching out, it wasn't like it was a third down. It wasn't a fourth down. We had first and goal.
Yeah.
Like 2 hands on the ball and just take the contact. Hindsight's 2020. He was trying to make a play, but that's what happens when your offense is in a funk. You're doing anything and everything you can to just get in the end zone, and that right there, we're 17-14. Chiefs have not had anything on us at all in that second half. Completely different game, and it's just a momentum killer. That absolutely killed the momentum. I think right there is kind of when I was like, yeah, this might not be it. Because I still had faith up to there. I'm like, this big Zay Flowers play, even with the taunting. Next play goes and gets 10 or 11 yards, and we're driving again.
Yeah.
And after that, it's like, well, that felt like it was our drive to get in the end zone. Are we going to do it again? And even
Right.
when we put up 3, I'm like, all right, we can stop them. We can maybe get the ball back and maybe try to tie it up, and just never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
We're cooked. I'll say it. Are we the Cowboys of the AFC?
no, because we've won championships in
There
the
we
last
go.
2 decades.
Thank you. I hated that. I'm like, don't compare us to that. Don't
Yeah.
give us that.
No.
We win Super Bowls. We've won Super Bowls. Yeah. We don't get blown out like they did against the Packers. So
Yeah, no.
Titans low key kind of did blow us out, but what the Packers did was kind of disrespectful.
Yeah, but this one
Yeah.
really hurt because it seemed like the stars were really aligning for the Ravens to make a really deep postseason run and essentially make it to the Super Bowl and possibly win it. This was the year. It really, really stings way worse than it did last year, right?
We had no
Healthy,
expectations last year.
no
We had Tyler
expectation.
Huntley, the quarterback.
Exactly. So I mean, this year we go into the season with a brand new offensive coordinator, right? Who teams haven't had time to game plan for his strategy with us. We come into the season with a newly motivated and paid quarterback, right? We come into the season with a new group, a new set of wide receivers, more weapons for Lamar Jackson. Remember at the season-ending press conference last year, where John Harbaugh said, "We're going to go out and get weapons for Lamar." They went out and did that. Granted, I know Odell Beckham Jr. did not have the biggest impact on this team. You could argue that maybe Nelson Aguilar had a bigger impact this year than Odell Beckham Jr. Is that crazy to say? It's not crazy to say.
It's not crazy to say, and it kind of hurts thinking about that.
Kind of hurts thinking about it too. But I mean, just everything was there. It was on the table. Lamar was healthy this season. We were relatively healthy as a unit, especially relative to past seasons. And then also other teams around the league got banged up. I mean, there was no Joe Burrow, right? I mean,
Aaron Rodgers.
No Aaron Rodgers like we were expecting. There was a couple teams who kind of regressed. Herbert's Chargers and Trevor Lawrence's Jaguars, they both regressed. This was the time. This was the time, and we had the Bills and we had the Chiefs. Not to mention, we had the 1 seed. We had the 1 seed. Did not play wild card weekend. I can see us making the playoffs again next year, but will we have the 1 seed again? To where we don't have, will we get that first round bye? What's up?
I want to reference another one of your tweets.
Okay.
I saw you quoted about what Dan Campbell said. He's not going to sit here and lie to you that this is going to happen again next year, because it's not. We weren't playing the number 1 teams this year in our schedule.
Right.
We were number 2 in our division last year. We're playing number 1s next year. We're playing the AFC West next year.
Yep.
We're playing the Broncos with whatever happens with them. We're playing the Chiefs. We're playing the Chargers. And we're playing the Raiders. That's another hard division. And then we're gonna be playing. I don't know what division winners we play. Uh, do we play the Niners? I don't think we do. We're gonna play two. I don't know what team it is or what division we play the winners there, but it's gonna be hard to schedule. And one thing that I've been thinking about a lot is I want to give all credit to Eric DaCosta. He built a championship winning roster, in my opinion.
Right.
Will he hit on all of his 1 year deals next year? Because we can go through them all. Clowney hit, Cal Van Noy hit, Millette hit, Darby hit, Aguilar hit, OBJ hit. For me, in the point that it brought back Lamar Jackson. The only one to me that didn't hit was Rock Ya-Sin. That didn't matter because Brandon Stevens stepped up and to me had a Pro Bowl year.
Yeah.
Darby stepped up, had a really good year. Millette stepped up, had a good year. Will that happen again? I don't know. As good of a GM he is, I don't know if we're going to be able to get those type of free agents out there on the street in August, September. I don't know. So I just feel like this was a huge blown opportunity.
Definitely was, man. Definitely was a blown opportunity that we will not get back, until like a year from now, hopefully.
Damn.
Yeah, damn. That's really the best you can. That's really the best we can say right now. I do want to get into some comments from the Rain Gang.
We were just having a therapy session, guys.
Problem is, my laptop is freezing up right now.
Oh, it is?
For some reason. Yeah.
Oh, no.
I assume I've probably been frozen for the past like 5 minutes or so.
You have, but we can hear your voice.
Yeah.
So I can bring up some ones real quick, and we can talk about them if that's cool.
Sure.
All right. So we have one from Lisa. She says, "Can you guys talk about the encroachment call? I've never seen that called as an unnecessary roughness penalty. Do you think that was warranted?" So referring to final drive, Roquan Smith just absolutely lays out one of their linemen.
Yep.
They give him a 15-yard penalty. Loki, think it was warranted. I'm a huge Roquan Smith fan, but that was just frustration. I think bullying from him. Like he just could have pushed him.
Yeah.
Could have just jumped off, but he just bull rushed him. Your takes, your thoughts?
No, I mean I agree with that. I get what they were going for. When they explained it on the broadcast, sounded like a smart idea, right? But like you said, Roquan, the emotions were just there, and we didn't talk with our pads as much as we normally would in that game, and that's what kind of bothered me. Like it didn't feel like we put our best foot forward at all in that game. And again, I want to give a shout out to the defense, but you could tell it's hard, and I feel sorry for the defense because it's hard to keep going out there, drive after drive after drive, and keep getting stops, and your offense isn't matching that same energy. You know what I mean? So I understand by the time the game is almost over, your defense has been playing lights out all second half. Your offense hasn't matched the energy. So now you find yourself in a scenario where you're still losing, even though you're winning your side of the ball. That's frustrating. So I get, and of course we always know the type of tenacity that he plays with. So I don't know, maybe somebody should have coached him up like, hey, listen, breathe first. Here's what we're going to do. You do this, make sure you don't do too much of it, right? And maybe that conversation just wasn't had with Roquan, but yeah, man, I want to get back to Zay Flowers really briefly. Okay. And it's about the hold on. Let me turn this down. There we go. I want to make sure you guys can see me because I know I'm frozen.
Okay, yeah. You're good.
But yeah. Oh crap. Can you see me?
Yeah, you're good.
You can still hear me good, right?
I can hear you fine.
Perfect. So well, basically what I was saying is you guys know how I was saying about the smaller receivers and how I'm not really the biggest fan of those type of guys. I just wish that the Ravens would what? Well, why are you laughing? What's going on?
I'm just seeing two of you. This is like my inner thoughts right here. And then just it's hilarious.
Sorry guys, I'm having some technical difficulties here with my laptop, unfortunately.
It's all good.
So
there we go.
Let me do that. And
switch this input, right? I'm over here doing technical stuff.
We're cooked right now. We're the Ravens offense from yesterday. It's even coming over to the stream. It's okay. And
Okay.
Black Daniel says you're in the multiverse. There we go.
I am. All right, I'm gonna take off this headset. Actually, no, I needed to hear you. Here we go. This is a microphone now. But I wanted to talk about the whole Zay Flowers thing and how I don't really like the smaller archetype of receivers. I feel like the Ravens keep drafting them because they love what Steve Smith Sr. was able to offer when he was, in his tenure with the Baltimore Ravens. You're not going to get that same guy, okay? Let me ask you this. Do you think that Steve Smith Sr. fumbles that ball on the goal line?
No, he puts his shoulder down and lays somebody out.
Exactly. He puts his fucking shoulder down and he lays that dude out, whoever it is, and he's getting that touchdown. Those guys aren't built the same anymore. They are not built the same. And that's why I think, is it crazy to say, first 3 draft picks, we need another receiver?
I don't think it's crazy. Me personally, though, in free agency, if they let Mike Evans walk from Tampa Bay, I'm calling him up. I know people want T. Higgins, and I understand that. I'm seeing what Mike Evans wants. Yeah. But no, I don't think it's crazy that if that's were to happen again. I really don't think. Second or third round, I wouldn't want first round. I think a tackle is needed, or an edge rusher, or another defensive back. But first 3 rounds, not crazy to say.
Yeah. It's, man. And what do we do with Bateman? Like, where do we go from here with guys like Bateman and Odell?
I'm going to die on this hill. Okay. There's a 1,000-yard receiver in him. He gets a separation. I saw somebody comment it in the chat. Where is it at? I saw they brought it up, but they said they were at the game yesterday and he was getting separation and he was open. When I find it, I'll give you your credit. But yeah, I think that he's there. But unfortunately, for the best interest of him, I think he should request a trade. And I don't want to sit here and sound like that guy, but he's not being used correctly. I don't think the chemistry is there. I would love for him to ball with us, because I think he's a stud. But yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I mean, I definitely do feel like if he goes somewhere where he is a first or even legitimate second option with a quarterback who, plays more on-time football, less off-script, backyard football type of plays, he could excel. He could definitely excel. What's up?
The trigger man. I watched overhead game footage and Bateman was wide open several times. Bate must have pissed Lamar off. Trigger man, thank you.
Yeah, if that's the case, then that's unfortunate. I'll say that. We do have a super chat donation I want to get to. This one's coming from KP. This team reminds me of Mark Jackson's Golden State Warriors, perennial playoff team, but can't get over the hump until they get a new coach. Ooh.
Steve Kerr, where you at?
I didn't want to start up the whole Harbaugh slander train. I really don't. But I mean, there's a common denominator here. You know what I mean? Like, something's got to give at some point. It feels like sometimes he gets bullied in these big games. It felt like he got bullied yesterday by Andy Reid and company. If not for Mike McDonald, game would have looked a lot worse. I can tell you that. So, do the Ravens need to make a change at head coach? If the objective is objectively winning a Super Bowl every season, then yes. Or just getting to one, just getting one, then yes. I think that the Ravens could benefit from having a more hard-nosed, big brother type of feel coach, as opposed to just I trust my guys. I'll just let my offensive coordinators run everything. If things are going to shit, that's okay. We'll go to shit with them. It's just that's not what you want. Which is why I'm also very interested to see how his brother Jim Harbaugh does back in the NFL. Of course, we know he got hired by the Chargers last week. Be very interested to see what he does in his stint there in LA. I watched a podcast the other day, or at least a snippet from a podcast, and it was about John Harbaugh was the guest, right? And he was talking about this story about how Jim Harbaugh has always been, his little brother, but he's always been bigger than him. And Jim Harbaugh, over the years would try to like little boy him and like, because he was bigger. So he told the story about how they went to the beach one day and, as brothers, they were wrestling or whatever. And Jim Harbaugh got the better of him and like basically let John know, like, yeah, like you may be big brother, but like I'm the man. Have you not seen this clip, Alex?
No.
Bro, I gotta send
Jim
it.
said,
I
"I'm
gotta send
pussy."
it to you, bro.
He said, "I'm pussy."
Bro, Jim Harbaugh, literally they said that they were wrestling like on the beach somewhere or something like that, right? And Jim Harbaugh gets John into a position where he's got his head underwater and he's holding him underwater. And John Harbaugh said in the podcast, he was like, okay, this is it. Maybe Jim snapped, like he's gonna kill me. That sort of thing. And then Jim let him up and kind of like look John in the eye, like, yeah, like you may be big brother, but like I'm big brother. You know what I mean? And John Harbaugh said he had to deal with that for the next 23 years until the Super Bowl happened. And of course, he beat him in the Super Bowl. Isn't that crazy?
Nah. Can we? 23 years.
Yeah.
23.
Yeah.
Let me do some math real quick. I'll be right back.
But no, I thought that just kind of spoke to the non-alpha male little brother mentality that Harbaugh kind of has. He's a little bit passive aggressive, and you would like to see him put the pedal to the metal in certain situations. And yesterday, it really didn't seem like he grew a pair of nuts, like you said that he should.
He was 27 when that happened. I just did the math.
Yeah. Just so grown men.
It's
literally.
One thing if it was like, kids. I get that, kids. I like John too. I do. Like dead ass, like I was behind him, like I was backing him. I can't get behind that, John. I mean, he got him back in the Super Bowl though, but like maybe that's kind of, that's a real big get back because you can never take the Super Bowl from him. John can whoop your ass right now. He can get a get back right now. Like, wow.
Yeah, bro. That was very eye opening to me when I heard that, and I'll have to send you the snippet that I saw, so maybe you can watch the full episode. But I don't know, man. It does seem like he gets bullied in these games, and it seemed like he got bullied yesterday in the AFC Championship game. And you could tell just based off of how the Ravens were kind of scrambling just to get anything going on offense when it was like, hey, don't relax, take a step back, breathe, realize what got us to this point, which is running the football, having our running backs get more than 6 combined carries, and not even mentioning Dalvin Cook's name the entire time. I saw a lot of people on Twitter, which I think this was warranted. They were in outrage that the Ravens did not utilize Dalvin Cook because what was the point? What was the point in even bringing him in?
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
So just a lot of blame to go around overall yesterday. I can definitely say that it was a team loss, right? A team loss. But, man, let me see. Enzo says it would be wild if they let Harbs go and they hired Billy B. What do you think about that?
Good point. I want McDonald as head coach, if anything. I don't want him to go. I'm sorry. Purple Bird 8 said we missed his live chat. I see it right here. Harbs out, first in rushing and 6th running back carries, 2019 repeat. Yeah. I don't know, because we had the same conversation about Gus. He broke off a run in the first quarter, never see him again against the Titans. Same thing happened here. Like, it's just a repeat. And I'm just at the point now, it's like you're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, bro.
Yeah,
you
that's
can't.
the definition of insanity.
Why we as fans, why can us fans see it and he can't? He sits here and says, "Well, that's how the game went." I'll give you the cold hard truth.
Okay.
The game went because you tried to shut down an agenda about this team that we could pass. We can pass, but we can run a lot better too. We weren't first in rushing for a reason. And one thing that I hope this team addresses in the offseason, I don't want Lamar Jackson to be our leading rusher next year. I don't. I'm tired of it. Saquon, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, or if you want to draft somebody, you can. I cannot have Lamar Jackson be our leading rusher. It's not. It doesn't win you championships. I hate to say it. Him being your leading rusher, your quarterback leading your rushing offense is not going to win you a championship.
No, you're absolutely right about that. And just getting away from what you did best is not going to win you a championship. I talked about it on the last episode of the show. You got to dance with the person who brought you to the dance. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't do that at all. I mean, Gus was averaging over 6 yards a carry. Granted, he only had 3 of them, but the Chiefs never really proved that they can consistently shut down this run game. Time of possession was another huge thing. You know what I mean? Like, in that first half, I think they had the ball for 20 minutes and we had the ball for about 9 minutes. If that doesn't tell
The
you
lowest
to
in
start
Lamar
running the
Jackson era.
football, yeah, exactly. If that doesn't tell you to start running the football, especially considering the fact that we were only ever down by 10 points at the most, run the ball. Run the ball, man. They haven't proven that they can consistently stop it. I think what happened was, I think we came out in the third quarter, our first offensive drive. I want to say we started with 2 runs, right? They didn't really work all that well, and then it was right back to the passing game, and that was for the rest of the game, you know. So, and then the Lamar Jackson runs. I thought Lamar Jackson was a little bit hesitant to run in certain spots yesterday. He wasn't nearly as decisive as he was in the Texans game. That really, really bothered me, because he's got to master just the ability to know when to run and when to hang back there in that pocket. Because I promise you, I'll take a nice little 7-8 yard scamper, you know, over an incompletion, or you running around until you finally get wrapped up by a defender and now it's a 4-yard sack. I know you remember that play, right? Where he's scrambling around and he could have just thrown it away. Instead, he takes the sack. Like, just super unnecessary sack. Like, could have avoided the guy completely. But he takes that one. So a couple of bad decisions from Lamar. Another point in the game I wanted to touch on was the interception that he threw late, the really bad one in triple coverage to Isaiah Likely. Do you think that there should have been a flag called?
On likely, yeah, likely 100%, 1,000,000%.
I'm talking about the one that was picked.
Oh, as a neutral, likely is never catching that ball. But if you want to say maybe he could make a play defensively, I can get behind it. Because if not, he could probably pull the guy away and get an OPI and it's not picked off.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I thought that the ball wasn't very catchable, you know, to warrant them throwing the flag. But at the same time, he was pushing Likely in the back before the ball even got in the vicinity, you know, so that could have been called, but also it could have been a better throw by Lamar, right? Because I saw the X's and O's kind of video of it where it shows like the top down, you know, view of the play, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it looked like Likely was kind of streaking open. And if Lamar throws that ball right over the top of him, you know, almost towards the out of the back of the end zone, I feel like he stacks the defender that's on his hip and he can make a play. At least he can make a play on that football. But Lamar kind of left it out there hanging. It was in triple coverage. So one of those guys was bound to go up and make a play on the football. And one of the guys just happened to kind of push Isaiah Likely, I guess, trying to jockey for position on his own, and, you know, ended up being picked. But that came even after the Zay Flowers fumble, right? So I feel like at that point, Lamar Jackson was in 100% full-on hero ball mode. Like, I'm not letting this team lose mode. And sometimes that can lead to mistakes. You know, and it certainly did there. But definitely the most crushing part of yesterday's game, I thought, was that Zay Flowers fumble.
You know, what I'm about to tell you right now, you may not ever expect me to say this,
Okay.
but I'm going to say it. You know who I low-key wanted to see more of yesterday?
Who's
Low-key. The one player who I'm really not a big fan of, Pat Ricard. And I never thought I'd be saying that in a playoff game. But for our run game, like, he will bring you the blocking from anywhere on the field, whether he's lined up on the line, in the backfield, in motion. Because it maybe could help this run game. But it's telling that he's not on the field because we weren't running the ball. But I would have liked to see what would happen if he got more snaps and we tried to run the ball. And Justice Hill in there on third down, third and short. No. We have Gus Edwards. Hell, we have Dalvin Cook, not Justice Hill. It just felt like we were doomed from the start. I do want to bring up real quick our guys' lunch break hot take. The fact we expect Lamar to run more than our running backs is crazy. This times 1,000. Yeah,
Facts.
like I got that.
Yeah.
I don't know. This, like you say, we're so reliant on him. It's not even funny. He's our running and our passing and our whole offense. I would just love to see what we could do if you just let him just focus solely on passing and just let him cook. Because I thought the likely play, I thought that was his worst throw, maybe in his career. Because every other throw he's made this year, it's either over the receiver, or it's not catchable for a defender. That one right there was just like worst time to have it. But on to next year, right? Cue up the mock drafts.
Yeah, on to next season. Only thing is, next season is only going to get tougher. It's going to be twice as tough. I mean, like we talked about, there's going to be a whole bunch of guys coming back from the I word, some quarterbacks we know. We're probably going to lose Mike McDonald. I'm sure Todd Monken is taking interviews as well. Lamar Jackson's going into his 7th season. Next year, it's right. It's crazy. Time is flying, right? 7th season for Lamar Jackson on the horizon.
I remember what I was doing his first start. I can tell you that whole day back.
Me too.
I went to Wegmans right before he started to get a prescription.
Bro,
I remember everything about that day.
Yeah, me too. I was actually doing a photo shoot for one of my friends who was graduating college from UMD, College Park. So I was on the College Park campus. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. I was on the College Park campus around like 12:30 when that game started. Mind you, my house is like an hour away. So after I got done the photo shoot, I was on the road by like 1:15, 1:30, literally like listening and watching the game, driving at the same time. And they were just talking about, oh yeah, this kid Lamar Jackson, because we played the Bengals.
Yep.
This kid Lamar Jackson, he's starting, he's making his first start. And I was like, damn, I hope this works out for us. You know what I mean? Like, I miss Joe already. But then Lamar started cooking, and he never stopped. So the rest was history. But yeah, he'll be going into his 7th season next year. And the window, you talk about the championship window. Kind of speak to that, Alex. Like, what do you think that this window can continue to stay open the way it has been, or do you think that it's kind of shrinking?
I don't want to talk about coaching, but I think with the coach is limited. I really do. I feel our defense is good no matter what. Kyle Hamilton is a fucking gem. Kyle Hamilton, to me right now, is a top 5 defensive player in the league. If you watch what he's done all season, even yesterday, he was taking that game over. He was unblockable. Yes, he got beat on the Kelsey touchdown. That was the only bad thing he did yesterday.
Yeah.
It's just offensively that this line is cooked. Stanley got cooked. Simpson got cooked. Moses got cooked. Linderbaum did his thing, I thought. I haven't watched any of that back over. That was just my initial thoughts from watching just the CBS broadcast. And now receivers. Odell's a free agent. Aguilar's a free agent. The sky is not falling by any means. We're going to be back in the playoffs next year. We know this. But will we win the division? I'm not sure. There are
the one seed.
I wouldn't mind. One seed's not happening. I didn't expect it this year. I never expect my team to be the best, just because I know how crazy things are. But there's some guys I want us to target in free agency that I don't think will cost a lot of money. Defensive backs. But receiving wise, I would like a big body receiver. This is the same thing we say year in, year out, looking for the Anquan Bolden guy.
Yeah.
But even then, like, are we really going to use him? Are we going to be able to? Because I don't know. And then maybe a running back, but because Keaton Mitchell won't be back until I think midseason next year, which is the worst part. Is J.K. Dobbins coming back? We don't know. Gus Edwards, free agent, I think. Pretty sure.
Then I wanted to get your take on Mark Andrews coming back. I think he had like 2 catches for maybe like 15 yards, something like that. I had tweeted before the game, like, yeah, it's all good, fine and dandy that Mark Andrews is coming back. I just do not want him to stunt the production of what Isaiah Likely has been able to contribute on the offensive end. I know he wasn't having like big yardage games, but he was getting targets and he was making the most of them. And we just didn't see that. We didn't see that, especially with all considering all the passing that the Ravens did yesterday, or at least attempted to. Did not see a whole lot of production out of our tight end room. Again, the only pass catcher who really showed up was Zay Flowers, and of course, it was kicked off by that play in the first quarter with 5 minutes remaining. Lamar Jackson makes another incredible play. If not for a couple heroic Lamar Jackson plays, that game could have gotten way uglier a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we ran like 12 personnel, like 10 plays yesterday, or like it was very, very small. I don't think we utilized Likely correctly. There was times where I know Manders wasn't even on the field.
Yeah.
There was one time he was in the locker room. Clearly wasn't healthy. Respect to him for coming back. I'm not going to get mad at him. I just think it was a game plan altogether. I don't think we utilized Likely, hell, or even Kolar, because Kolar was getting a catch or two in the games, whether it be for 7 yards. It's still more 7 yards we didn't have before.
Yeah.
And we just weren't utilizing short routes. And thank you, Bosh. Yes, like the video and subscribe if you're new. Going live Mondays and Thursdays. Thank you. Yeah, we weren't doing the simple things right, and it stunted us. Because the week before, we go into the break tied, 10-10, and we come out short pass to Aguilar, hit Likely over the middle. He goes and stiff arms somebody. We weren't doing the simple things right. Trying to heave it down the field like we were down 20 points. And that's what still pisses me off. We were down 10 points. 10 points is nothing for us the whole season.
There were,
and you just,
I'll say this.
Panic.
I thought that there were some quick passes that the Ravens wanted to get off, but either one or two things happened. Excuse me. Either one, the Chiefs, they got a hand on the ball, which they did a good job.
Chris Jones.
Doing that pretty much all yesterday, making sure they got hands up. There were no easy screen passes, outlets, things like that. Excuse me again. But also, another big thing was Lamar was hesitant. There were some times where he would snap the ball and you could tell that he wanted to go somewhere with it immediately, but he hesitated, kind of does a little pump fake, looks somewhere else, tries to scramble around a little bit. Now, all of a sudden, we're in backyard football. Everything's off script, and it just wasn't there, So it didn't work out in our favor. I thought that, of course, just like everybody else, we should have ran the ball more. Gus Edwards averaging 6 yards a carry, Justice Hill being the playmaker that we've grown to know him to be, especially in the postseason. He should have gotten more opportunities. But hey, man, and when you have an MVP quarterback and you're going up against another MVP quarterback, I understand putting the ball game in his hands and telling him to go, but there's a team sport at the end of the day, and you can't get away from what gave you success all season.
Yeah. I just want to pull up something real quick.
Okay.
I saw it on Twitter. Garnett West, great follow on Twitter. He actually always does this. He puts together a little spreadsheet of who we have secured for a couple of years, for 2 years and final year. Right now, our 2024 roster, our wide receivers are Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, and Tylan Wallace. And Bateman and Wallace are going to their final year. So it just feels like it's every couple of years we have this wide receiver revamp, and I just want us to be a team that we have our core guys, and we don't. Yeah. We sit here, draft a guy, hope they're amazing, hope we bang, sign a couple of guys off the street, and roll with it. I'm tired of it being the same thing every single season. Like, I'm honestly getting a headache thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the
Purple
situational
Bird
stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, he says Mike Evans or Higgins. I mean, that'd be cool. I don't think we have the money for it unless we have guys restructure. Might have to play some Cap Olympics this year.
Yeah.
So, like,
the work is definitely cut out for us when it comes to signing, re-signing guys, restructuring contracts, things like that. EDC's got his work cut out. Man, this loss sucks, man. Just kind of taking it all in with the Rain Gang. This one's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow because, again, it was all right there. It was right there on a silver platter for us. And let me tell you this. The fact that, and I tweeted this earlier today too, the fact that Taylor Swift, and yes, I'm going to bring up Taylor Swift. The fact that Taylor Swift is in her first year of NFL fandom and just automatically off rip gets to see her team go to a Super Bowl. No heartbreak to endure, no having to wait for draft season, free agency, being around the clock locked in with a team like us football fans are. just becomes a fan of a team. And the very first year, she gets to go to all the games she wants to, of course, because she's got the money and she's famous. But the team is still winning. And it just happens to be the Chiefs, right? Like, why couldn't she be dating somebody from I don't know, like the Cardinals or something like that? This had to be Travis Kelce from the dynastic Chiefs. It's just
Mr. Perfect.
yeah.
Mr. Perfect.
And now we are going to have to deal with this whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce narrative for at minimum the next 3 weeks, at minimum. And she's going to be all over the Super Bowl, all over the Super Bowl. There's going to be a whole segment dedicated to her, I'm sure, right? And her and Travis's relationship, and she's going to be on the TV screen at least 15, 16, maybe 20 times during that broadcast. And it just sucks. It just sucks. And if you're a Chiefs fan, you get to watch your team yet again in a team where, maybe they're starting to question the motivation a little bit, right? Because they've already got 2 rings and they've got a 2-time MVP Mahomes, Super Bowl MVP as well. And they just get this story out of nowhere. Oh, wait, our starting tight end is dating the biggest pop star in the world. That's awesome. The attention the media has given them has just been absolutely absurd all season long. And the fact that they're in this Super Bowl, it almost makes you want to feel like this shit is rigged. You know what I mean? Like, it's just because, like, bro, what are the odds? I get it. The Chiefs are really damn good. They won the whole thing last year. But, like, what are the odds these guys are back in the Super Bowl? And it's just a coincidence that now Taylor Swift basically plays for the team. It's crazy.
And can she play wide receiver? Can she hit a mean slant?
That's what I'm saying, all right,
bro. We'll do tryouts. All right, we got tryouts. Local football field.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I see Elizabeth in the chat saying, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for the NFL. It's probably growing the game. I know more people are watching it. It's cool in that part. But yeah. I'll tell you what though.
Yeah.
I see Big Cuz says how many commercials they have. Yeah, Kelsey and Mahomes there are a lot of commercials. Speaking of commercials, when Lamar threw the pick and that damn commercial with the outlet singing came on, I wanted to bash my head in the wall.
Yeah.
Like it's not even like the Whopper was funny. Like the scoop there it is was cool, but that one, bro, I was like, you are literally taking the piss right now. We just throw damn near a pick that just ends our season and that damn outlet is singing, bro. Like, please save me from
bro. That was not the time at all for them to drop that on us. I was like, I didn't even say anything. Like, I just had it in my head. I was like, really? Right now? Like, it's like it felt like for a while, us in the run game were inseparable, right? You know what I'm saying? And then we separated ourselves in a big way. It was crazy.
We never go out of style, We're never going out of style.
Okay. All right. So again, guys, this episode of the Purple Rain podcast was mainly just meant to be a therapy session for all of us Ravens fans who are 24 hours removed, maybe more by now, the time you're watching or listening to the show, from that game. So we're not going to get into too much, this episode. We're actually going to go ahead and wrap it here, especially because of these technical difficulties I got going on. So look, if you have questions, comments, concerns, anything, listen, leave it down below in the comment section, because here's what we're going to do. Next episode, we're going to have an entire segment dedicated to answering the questions from the previous episode's comment section. Okay? Yeah. So if you're hearing this, drop your question or your comment or your concerns in the comment section, and we will bring them up and address them on episode 224 of the Purple Rain podcast. Again, guys, the channel's not going anywhere. You guys know it's off season. We have content rolling out, whether it's even not about football. It could be about basketball. I'll probably put out some stuff about MMA.
We got UFC 300 coming up.
300's coming up. So there's a lot more to cover, guys. A lot more that we cover here on this channel. So make sure you stay locked in. Make sure you stay subbed. Like the videos. We'd appreciate that. Again, you can follow us on Instagram or Twitter. Or actually, you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Sutton Def. You can follow this guy over here on Twitter or X at SimplyAS10 and on Instagram at SimplyAS10.prod. And you can follow us
Probably
on
hopping.
Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast.
Yeah, probably taking a little break from the old X. Just gonna be posting videos and getting off of there because boy,
It's
it gets
toxic.
toxic right
sure.
when the season ends. But a big thing though is we gotta have content for the off season now.
Yes.
We don't want to talk about the same thing over and over again. Thankfully, though, like the good news, our quarterback's under contract. One big thing is I hope that guy, his college jersey right behind me, Patrick Queen. I hope it wasn't his last game with the Ravens.
Yes.
Matabike, I hope it wasn't his, Geno Stone. But it is a business. It is a business. But thank you all for rocking with us for another season
Yes.
with the Ravens. And I've kind of noticed, we got rocked out in the wild card. Now the AFC Championship. Maybe next year, maybe it's the one. Maybe it's the one in New Orleans where we won our last one.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something?
That would be something. That would be indeed. So yeah, like my guy Alex said, thank you guys for rocking out with us over this season. It has been, objectively our best season yet, covering the Ravens. AFC Championship game.
Fun.
It was a lot of fun, and hopefully next year we can actually get the job done.
And we went 3-0. When you were at a game and I went to games, 3-0, undefeated.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say.
You heard it.
The Purple Rain. We prevail.
Yeah. It's that Purple Rain magic, man. All right, so again, like the video, subscribe to the channel, guys. We'll be back on Thursday with another episode, kind of talking more about the loss, the season in review, what the next steps are, things like that. Right now, it's still just all therapy because it's all still very fresh in all of our heads. I don't think that we've really taken the time to grieve this loss and really think straight about it. At least I know I haven't yet. I haven't even watched any of the major sports outlets or anything like that because they're just going to be spewing garbage takes about how bad Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are in the playoffs. And some of it's warranted, of course, but those people don't know the Ravens like we do, and the rest of this Ravens community. So make sure you support your local Ravens YouTubers, podcasters, whatever there is. There's a lot of great ones out there who've been putting in work all season, who I know will continue to put in work over the off season as well. So make sure you stay locked into their channels. A couple that come to mind: Huddled Up Films, Lunch Break Hot Take, of course, Engraving Videos. We had our guy Bobby Trossett on the show last week. Yeah, there's a lot of guys out there, and if I'm missing any right now, Coach Evans, Sip to Tally Films. There's a lot of them out there,
All 22.
So, all 22. Yeah, we got to get him back on the show. We got to get all 22 back on the show for sure. But yeah, support your local YouTubers, your local streamers. And yeah, with that being said, I love you guys. And I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you all for coming through to episode 223 of the Purple Pain Podcast. Yeah, man. Appreciate you all. As always, stay positive. Test negative.
Yeah, and never, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days when your favorite football team loses and your laptop freezes, doesn't matter. You got to make sure you call God, man. It's been episode 223 of the Purple Rain Podcast. We're going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.